Hello and welcome to yet another episode of Journalism Fandom.
We're back again, baby, for episode 3 of the new series of Who.
Yeah, and quite fittingly it was called Well.
Yes, well.
Well.
Yes.
Many puns,
yes,
many
exactly.
well
puns. Well, yeah. Interestingly, after last week's bemoaning of yet more moaning about Doctor Who,
Yeah.
my partner said to me, "Do you actually like this show anymore?" And I was saying to her, yeah, I do, because like I was saying to her how we'd given episode 1 a 4 out of 10, and episode 2 a 6 out of 10, and she's going, "We're watching the same show," because she quite enjoyed episode 1 and really enjoyed episode 2. And I'm thinking, is it just the curse of the critic now? Is it just our grumpy old manness, our jadedness, our general hatred of everything?
There's probably an element. I think episode 2 could have been, well, no, it was up to a point very good, and then it fell off a cliff, and the falling off a cliffness happened right at the end. So
Yeah.
it takes the shine off it a bit, but it was still better than episode 1, so it was still good.
Yeah.
It just, for me, I think it could have been better is always the thing that really frustrates me. When you see something that you just think, if only they'd just done X, it could have been a lot better. So,
and I think it's also dangerous when you distill 45 minutes of opinion down into a numerical score, especially as we're only episodes into the series, when you just go, yes, I did not enjoy that episode, therefore it's going to get a low score, but actually I don't know what the other 6 are going to be like.
Yeah,
So
you can't compare
we
it.
might amend our scoring system at the end, who knows?
Yeah,
but
you might revisit it and say that episode 2 is the best thing in the series because all the rest was dross. You just don't know, do you?
Yeah. Will it score a 10 out of 10? No.
No, never.
Will every episode have to be absolutely terrible? Yes. Yeah. So yes. Right. Any news? Any news on the horizon?
The ratings were in, weren't they?
Yeah. Yes. That happened.
Let me just consult the website. Yeah, overnight ratings for episode 2 were 1.58 million, which that I was listening to last week's podcast, and my prediction of it going down slowly and then picking up has gone out the window because it's dropped. It's worryingly, if it continues, because I was looking at last year's. So last year's went from 2.6 to a low of 2.02 on episode 7, and then picked up again for the final episode at 2.25. Assuming this one's not following the same pattern, because it dropped.
No.
Like between episode 1 and episode 2 last year, it went to 2.6 to 2.4. This has gone 2 to 1.58. So it's dropped. Well, actually, no, I stand corrected. It's quite a bit of a drop.
Yeah, that's like a 20% drop.
So if it keeps dropping, it could go under 1 million before the end of the series, which would be bonkers.
But like we said before, ratings almost mean nothing nowadays.
Well, they've got the other 2 in. So the +7, 3.36, and the +7 and watched it on phones and watched it on tablets, 3.57, which is actually in line with what happened last year. So if you take 2.02 last year, 3.05 +7, 3.50 +7, and TV and laptops and whatnot. So it actually it marries up. So I think it'll look bad on paper if it goes under a million, which but in the whole scheme of things, if that +7, the laptop tablets, is still within 3 million, it's just a different beast.
Yeah, like we said, no one actually watches TV live anymore unless it's an event. World Cup final, for example, you're not going to watch on iPlayer. But Doctor Who on a Saturday night, it's like, yeah, TV is a different beast. So I think the initial drop off, so people either being busy or just not watching it and then just catching up later. But again, like us, we don't count for the overnight viewing because we watch it on iPlayer. Or do we count? I don't know.
It's a good question. What does overnight?
Yeah.
Does it count as? Does it say overnight TV ratings only include those who watched it live and those who recorded it and watched it later that night? So if we watched it at lunchtime, we don't count.
Yeah.
It's only the people that watched it live or recorded afterwards.
Yeah, and I honestly think have the Disney Plus iPlayer deal is going to kill its ratings because it has to.
Yeah, because
if I had to watch it on TV, I'd watch it on TV. But if I can just go, oh, I'm home now, I'll watch it now on iPlayer, I'll watch it there.
One of the criticisms of last week's episode that whether I agree with it or not, I don't know, was an interesting criticism. So obviously the breaking the fourth wall thing and the stereotypical fans, quite a few people, not right-wing YouTube actually, just general random people, pointed out that surely and I can see both sides, but they said it's interesting how he didn't pick a family, parents and kids. He picked 3, not middle-aged, sort of like 20-something nerds, which is their new target audience, which we've talked about. And people said, well, that kind of cements it, that RTD's view of the target audience is no longer kids, it's these people at this age group. And I thought, actually, that's a valid observation, actually, that that's who they're aiming the show at, and we know that because of the demo ratings and all that is the most important thing to them. So it was interesting. That was a good observation, I thought.
Yeah. It's a weird one. I liked the fourth wall bit, and I hated it. I think my opinion is gonna change every day for about the next 3 weeks.
It'd be interesting to see what the outcome of this whole Mrs. Flood thing is. And is it going to play into the fourth wall thing? Because she's breaking the fourth wall every episode near enough now, isn't she? So is this concept of... Because one theory is the Doctor in a TV show in the show, if that makes sense. So it turns out that he finds out that everything he's been doing has been part of a TV show and she's part of that. And it's going to get a bit meta. But that's one of the theories, that maybe what we're seeing is we're watching it as a viewer in this fake TV show of a TV show, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I think if it goes full meta, you just go,
it could lose the audience
I'm making the face already, just going, no.
Yeah, it could lose people very quickly. No, it'd be interesting to see, but... The whole I think we'll reserve judgment on that 100% if it comes back as a meta thing in the future.
Yes. So shall we talk about episode 3? Can we have more episodes like that, please?
Yes, please.
Just that every week, please.
I'm out on a limb. I think that was the best episode of 15th Doctor, and probably one of the best episodes I've seen in a long time.
Yes.
I think last year there was the Sutek stuff was good, don't get me wrong, but that was old school New Who episode, spot on.
Yeah. That was just yes.
It was really good.
Yeah, because I just really liked it. I don't know what to say. It was just really good.
Yeah. No, I think there was suspense, threat, a clever.
Was it RTD writing it?
RTD and a lady, I think. It wasn't just him.
Yeah.
It was 2 people.
Yeah, because it had it was like Blink, it was like Midnight name drop.
Yeah.
It was one of those just small cast, small contained area, good bit of television writing.
Yeah, nice bit of sci-fi horror there. Yeah. Creepy.
Well, it starts off as an episode of the Alien or Aliens, and you go, yes, more of that, please. And when they're saying, oh yeah, they've like, half of them have been broken in half of them are shot, you just go, ooh, it's obvious what's going to have happened. They'll have killed
Yeah.
each other. And then when you see a lone survivor, you go, yep, that makes sense.
Yeah.
And then when they just sort of start seeing this at the corner of your eye, something you just can't focus on, and you go, yes, I like this. This is
yeah.
Yeah.
And it was a good enough story, like Blink, that can be transplanted onto the real world. Because I could tell it was a good story because my son was freaked out about it afterwards.
Yep.
Because you can see the thing behind you in real life. And I thought that's exactly what Blink was like, where you got the bit at the end with all the statues. It could happen now. That's how good the story was. And I think that's it. If Doctor Who, if you can relate to it in the real life, then the story's done its job for scary stories.
Yeah. Because again, there's just that blur, that when you see the thing or don't see the thing, it's that just slight little corner of your eye. You go, wait, what was that? Was that something? Is it something? And then you're then looking for it, and occasionally you just go, oh no, that was, oh yes, please, num 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 num, more of that. Yes, just basically Doctor Who. If you want to know what you do, just do that, please. Just write good stories each week, and we'll be happy.
Yeah, there was enough in there. The characters weren't annoying. None of the supporting cast were annoying. There was no sledgehammer to crack a nut moral story behind anything. Even toned down the Doctor as well. He wasn't as in your face. He was actually very good in it. It felt like the Doctor, proper Doctor.
Yeah, and the only part which could have been considered to trigger a reaction is when when Belinda's chatting to the Alice, and she, but you're a nurse that can't sign, but that's illegal, and she goes, oh yeah, actually that maybe should be, and you go, yeah, that actually is a piece of social commentary to exclude a group is very bad.
Yeah, and there was those little things
and
about...
I thought actually that it was done in a way that
it was subtle,
makes sense and works the story. It was meant to be there, and actually was a good reaction, and the reaction felt genuine. I think that's the thing. It worked with the characters and worked with the situation, and you go, yes, I am fully here for this.
And it wasn't the fact that she was signing and they had the really clever thing where it was doing the subtitles became part of the story. It wasn't just there for, right, we need a deaf person on this show. It was there, but it didn't become a thing. It was just, it flowed naturally into the story. And I thought, you just didn't, by the end of the episode, you didn't even second guess it. It was just there.
Yeah. And I think that's the sign of a well-written episode of a show. All the parts were where they were meant to be.
Yeah.
And actually, if you took any of those parts out, the thing as a whole falls down. Whereas other episodes, you could take half of it away and it would still be slop. I think it was just a solidly written, good piece of TV.
Yeah. What did you think about it being a sequel to Midnight?
As soon as they said, "Oh, it's like a," there were so many clues that you kind of go, "Wait a minute." And when he goes, "What was this planet used to be called?" And I went, "Yes, that's very much so." It didn't need to be.
Yeah, I think and we talk about being a critic, my only criticism, and it's not a criticism, but if I was asked to criticize it, this is what I would say. It didn't need to be a sequel to Midnight. It could have been a story on its own. And in fact, and I get the passage of time and things have changed, but the creature wasn't acting like it did in Midnight. Because in Midnight, it was jumping from person to person. Here, it was sentient in its own right. But then I suppose the evolution would mean that it had changed. That's my only criticism. If you're going to do a sequel, have the same thing doing the same things. Don't have it change and be different.
Yeah.
But it still worked.
If I was going to have a criticism, and I actually felt myself doing this and basically had to tell my own head to behave. The fact that when they get changed in the TARDIS, they pick the exact same outfit that everyone else is wearing that's instantly compatible with the helmet and has all the bits and pieces. And you go, okay, also no, but
And
I'll allow
also,
it. Yeah.
why did they take off all their armor? That piece of the storyline, I didn't get it. The Doctor said, I don't like wearing armor, but it didn't make any sense why they were the only two to take off their armor and everyone else didn't make sense. But there was just a random thing in the story.
Yeah. And again, your inner critic is just going, no, but your actual inner audience members going, it's fine, it's not immersion breaking. And actually, you go, well, actually, he's not a soldier, so actually wearing
it distinguishes
soldier
him.
gear feels he's a doctor and she's a nurse. That's the thing, I think.
And I like the fact that he's introduced himself as the Doctor and she's the nurse. I think that's quite a nice thing.
Yeah.
And again, her character went immediately to help someone, even though she has no concept about what's going on. And I thought, in this episode, I thought her character was developed again very well. You got to she's thankfully not becoming insufferable. She's becoming quite a nice foil to him in a way. So, she's moved on. And I liked the mystery over Earth that was woven in through the dialogue. And then you got the unnecessary Mrs. Flood thing at the end, and well, whatever she is, who knows. But you got that nice little kind of weave of no one knows who I am kind of stuff. What's going on here? So the threat's building. How next week's episode is going to work, I don't know. Unless it's
What's
Doctor
next week's
Who
episode?
Oh, didn't you see the trailer at the end?
No, I'm avoiding trailers like the plague.
Oh,
so
well, it's basically got Ruby in it on Earth.
Oh, yes.
So how are they going to get to... But I suppose it's Earth in the past, it could be. It's not going to be May 24th, is it? So he might land on Earth, but at the wrong time. That's the only thing I can think. But he's in it. I thought it was a Doctor Who Light episode, maybe. But he's in it, because you see him in it talking to Ruby, so... I'm not entirely sure how that's all going to work, but that'll be interesting to see how they sort of explain that away. Only it must be in the past. It'll be like May the 1st rather than May 24th or something like that.
Yeah, because he's got his Vindicator things, hasn't he? To put everywhere, so he'll bounce back and forth and all sorts. Because we went back, we've now gone really forwards, and now we're going back again.
Yeah, so it might be that it's the concept of Belinda exists twice and they've got to avoid going to the hospital because she's already there and she hasn't left yet, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and I think it'll be quite interesting if episode 5 is future again.
Oh, let's have a look.
To see is there an Earth again, because as far as we can tell, Earth does not exist after May 2025.
I don't know what the next one is. Let's have a quick look. It might be the song contest one. Come on.
Or the intergalactic song contest.
I'm
gonna hate it. Oh dear.
No.
I'm tired.
There's another one in between. So yeah, you might be right. It might be a future thing. And then, Well, the Interstellar one definitely is going to be in the future. So
yeah.
And then we're there. And then we hit the 24th of May. So
yeah, we do. Exciting.
Cool. So all in all, it was a good episode. What are we rating that one then?
Oh. So, like I alluded to earlier, distilling my opinion into one single digit of how good an episode is so difficult. But in the context of this series, 9.
Yeah, I do that. I think it was near enough spot on. There was hardly anything to criticise it. And like I said, it was a really good, excellent Doctor Who episode. His best episode, bar none.
Yeah, by far. And I think actually one of the best episodes since
we're going back to Capaldi. Yeah, we're going back to Capaldi.
Yeah.
Skipping over So, like, what, 10 years it's been since we had a really good Doctor Who episode like that.
Yeah.
Wow, look at us being really positive here.
I know, right? We're going to lose viewers. People tune in to hear phone about Doctor Who.
It's 20 minutes. We've finished.
Yeah.
Well.
Yeah, 20 minutes, done. Yeah. But, I think this is the thing. Like we said before, if we enjoy something, we go, yep, it was good. I enjoyed it. It was solid. I have no complaints. If we got to complain, mama, I can go for an hour complaining. But
really pick holes in it. But no, that was
a good,
just
solid
slick
episode. Yeah. And admittedly, I reserve the right to amend my scoring at the end of the series. But as it stands, 4, 6, 9.
Yeah, best one so far. And that's the benchmark now. So all the other episodes we're watching are now benchmarked against the well. There we go. That is...
Yes. Yeah. I'm going to be intrigued to, when I talk to other people who, like me, watched this show, because they've enjoyed episode 1 and 2 far more than I did, will they enjoy episode 3 as much?
That would be interesting to see, because this is... Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if there's a genuine shift or whether people like that as much as they like some of the other stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. It again, putting my critic hat firmly back on, it was that actually, no, even the fact that if you were directly behind and if it was like you lose sight of the person and it then happens, so it had that Blink vibe to it. And yeah, actually, no, I'm quite happy with because you never see what happens, because it's the way they did it was always they kind of went to the camera going straight at Alice, and then suddenly the person behind disappears. The only I've got it. So in my head, when they were filming some of the shots from the side, you could see the other cast members to her side and bits, and you're going, is at any point would that event then trigger? Because are you looking at it as a shot from afar or as a viewer? And you think, well, again, it's a Blink problem where if I'm looking at the angel stops. Yes.
Yeah.
So that was the only bit that. Yeah, but no. All in all, solid. Yes, please. More like that. Num num num.
Super. Well, now we've got a bit of time left. Shall we talk about WrestleMania?
We shall.
Because you've watched all 6 hours, haven't you?
I've technically all 6 hours have been on my TV. It might have been in fast forward mode for 5 of them. But I've watched both main events, and I've seen some snippets of other stuff that's happened. So I feel like I could talk about WrestleMania completely sensibly and not have to be held up by you in any way, shape, or form. So, I can totally do this.
If we start with the running order, this is where your confidence will fall down.
So, day 1, match 1 was someone. Oh, it was Gunther and thingy me, wasn't it? Was it?
Yeah, yeet. I'm doing my yeet.
Yes! Yes, I can watch that match and fast forward. I know what I'm doing.
To be fair, day 1 was not as good as day 2.
No.
Overall. But you always kind of get that.
Before we get into WrestleMania proper then, is it now a victim of its own success? Because again, like COVID era, right? When did it split to 2 days?
After COVID, 2021? Yeah.
Yeah.
Because originally they were spreading it out. Yeah, I think it's better than it. Because if you remember in the old days, it used to be like 8 hours long, didn't it? It was just crazy.
But there's so much of it. I think, is WrestleMania too big?
Well,
I like the fact it's spread over 2 days, but like again, doing it in 1 day is mental. And I think the double main event works, but then you've got to have 2 main events and then 2 big openers. Yeah, so you've then got to have more to make it work.
The concept of main evented WrestleMania, I always feel like day 1 main event is not as good as day 2, because day 2 is the big one. Day 1's kind of secondary. Has it got too big? Yeah, if you take into account the entirety of what they do, so you have I think I'll try and get it right. You had SmackDown on the Friday, followed by the Hall of Fame, followed by NXT was in there somewhere. I can't remember where that was. That might have been Friday as well. Then you had WrestleMania Saturday. Then there was WrestleMania Sunday. Then there was Raw on Monday. Then there was NXT on Tuesday. So yeah, you're looking at six or 7 days of stuff.
Yeah, that's a lot of content. But actually, no other wrestling promotion could get anywhere near that.
No. And it's
because they just haven't got the roster.
No, that's the other thing. Even though it's 2 days, the amount of triple threat matches was getting a bit silly. The amount of multi-person matches. Yeah, I know. You want the guys to get a payday and stuff, and not everyone's going to get on the show. But I miss the days when it used to be singles matches, loads of singles matches.
Yeah.
But now it's like everything's got to have more than one person in the match, and it's like, oh, could do without that. But it is what it is, and they try and accommodate everybody, but not everybody gets a shot on the show, which is just one of those things.
Yeah. So let's talk about Gunther versus Yeet Man.
Well, it was you could bet you could bet the farm on Jey Uso winning that, and if he wasn't going to win it, it would have just been an absolute waste of time. Again, in the old days, you won the Royal Rumble, you main evented WrestleMania. Now you win the Royal Rumble, you get to face one of the champions at WrestleMania. There's a difference. It's shifted, and in some ways, before COVID, we were always complaining that WWE never made new stars. Now they're making new stars. Triple H is making new stars. So Jey Uso is a new star, and they made him. So you can't complain. Gone are the days where Undertaker, Triple H, Brock Lesnar, you name all the old guys would turn up for WrestleMania and just take over the card. Now it's all new people, which is great.
Yeah. Question, actually. Well, again, before we get into it fully, with the change to Royal Rumble going from main eventing to pick a champion, does that add value or devalue the Rumble, in your view?
I think it can add value where it's unpredictable. So coming out of this Rumble, it was a little bit unpredictable who Jey was going to go for. Ultimately, he was going to go for Gunther because there was history there. But last year, when Cody came out of it, I know we park The Rock's influence, we'll talk about it later, he could have picked either champion and it would work. I think the women's one's more open because the championships are even. But really, if we're looking at it, and John Cena, no spoilers, but spoilers, has been talking about it, the undisputed title, just by name, is the linear championship. That is a combination of the original WWF championship and the WCW championship that got merged together, and then got merged again with the Universal Championship. I've lost track, but that's the linear championship. Whereas the World one was just created a couple of years ago because they needed a champion on Raw when Roman Reigns was out doing his thing. So arguably, there's two championships. One is definitely more important than the other. Yeah.
I think you hit the nail on the head there with the unpredictability of the Rumble. Because let's face it, if you were going to main event WrestleMania, Jey Uso was not winning the Royal Rumble ever, because it's not. If you put him in the pantheon of who you've got, it doesn't fit right.
No.
But again, if you can pick a champion, you go, yes, we can do that, and we can do it as a first match, and we can make it interesting. And I think you're right. It adds value, but also unpredictability is a great point.
And arguably, Jey Uso is not the greatest worker in the world, but he's over this year. Some of those scenes in, I think it was Lyon in France, when the place was just going nuts for him. They've obviously seen that, they've capitalised on it, and it remains to be seen how long that lasts, but they've kind of captured that excitement and built on it. So fair play to them.
And I think if they can react quick enough and ride a wave of fan buy-in, then yes, because let's face it, sometimes you go, "Oh, I'm going to make this person a star," and the fans went, "Nah,"
No, and they
and they go,
reject it.
"No, we're
Yeah.
doing it." Yeah, but now they're kind of a bit more fluid and just going, "Yeah, actually, this is cool. Let's do this and
Let's
explore it."
push it. Yeah.
So yes,
Uh,
so yeah, Jay versus Gunther. That was a foregone conclusion.
yeah. Tag team match was boring. I skipped that one, which is a
Yeah,
real shame, but I skipped it. Jade
who
versus
was it? Who was it?
New Day versus the War Raiders. New Day won.
I don't care.
No. It's a shame. I like tag team wrestling, but
Yeah,
tag team wrestling is in
yeah,
the bin at the moment.
yeah.
Jade versus Naomi. I wanted to see that because I like what they've done with Naomi. I think that turn has done her well. Jade is just this really big question mark because she is still very green, and can she handle stuff on her own? And she did a good job. And actually, it was a simple match, and it was the first women's match at WrestleMania that wasn't for a title ever.
Yeah.
And that's just
Really?
crazy. Yeah, there's not
Yeah.
been any
Mad.
others. Always been a women's championship match. So it was a short one. It's worth checking out because there's some nice big moves in it. Next one was... Sorry, go on.
Yeah, I think with Jade and her being new, if she's put in play with people like Naomi who are veteran and can help work the match well, then she'll be fine. But I think she needs just that still continued
She still needs to be
support to
carried
get
through a
there.
match.
Yeah. Yeah.
The next one was my two faves, Jacob Fatu and LA Knight. Jacob Fatu is just a mega star, and they're just building him up. It's a shame about LA Knight because he was at one point at the top of the tree, and he's kind of fallen down a bit. But I'm not arguing with the result of that. Jacob Fatu is on the way up, and this time next year he's going to be somewhere really good, I think.
Yeah, and I watched this one in super fast forward mode, and again, just seeing those two, you go, well, if R2 loses, then that damages him because he's a monster.
Yeah, he's been
Whereas
built
if
up as a
LA Knight
monster.
loses, LA Knight loses. Oh well. Yeah. So it's that difficulty of story writing where a person has to win to build that mythos up. Yes.
Yeah. So he'll be main event at WrestleManias within a couple of years. He's that good, and it's great.
So, quick question: so, what has happened to the new bloodline part?
That's what's really annoyed me. It's kind of all fallen apart. So they had that blow off match at War Games, wasn't it? No, it was Bad Blood where I've lost track of what order it came in. Basically,
because
when
Reigns took on Thingy, didn't he?
Is it Royal Rumble? It might have been. I can't remember.
Might have been. Yeah.
It was, and basically
so
beat him.
Yeah.
And then Solo, Fatu, Tamatonga were a group because Tangaloa, Tamatonga's brother, he's still out injured, but I don't know where he's gone. There's also another Samoan that they hired last year who's not appeared yet. But yeah, that secondary bloodline's kind of vanished, and now there's lots of infighting between Solo and Jacob that's obviously going to explode at some point. So that's a real shame because I thought you always knew that Roman was going to become victorious, but that group has kind of vanished. And I think they've got I think Tamatonga's now out with an injury as well, which is a shame because he's good. So that whole thing has kind of just stopped. But
and I think that's the problem when you're building a adversary group to an established faction, and then the established one wins. Well, the adversary then has no.
Yeah, they've got nowhere else to go.
Yeah, because you go, well, you beat them, so they're not a threat anymore because you won.
Yeah, so whether they'll get repackaged and stuff remains to be seen. But it's a shame because they were a good group.
Yeah. So what was next on the card?
Another one of my faves, El Grande Americano versus Ray Phoenix.
Love it. Because that's thinking me what's in it.
Chad Gable. I love the fact that they announce him as from the Gulf of America. I think that's brilliant. It just wises people up on the internet, and it's so funny.
Yeah, that's the thing. That is good comedy storytelling, and you go,
Yeah,
yes, I like this. Yeah, let's
because
just have a fun character.
this was kind of around the same time they were announcing that WWE have bought AAA, the Mexican Federation, Luchador
Okay.
Federation. Yeah, so they've
Yeah.
now acquired them, and they're going to do stuff with them. So that'll be interesting to see where that goes in the future. But no, it was a good match. Rey Fenix wasn't supposed to be there because it's supposed to be Rey Mysterio, but he got injured, so Rey Fenix took his place. And Rey Fenix is another refugee from AEW, so he's finally allowed to do some good stuff. And he's Penta's brother.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah. So they were supposed to come in together, but because AEW
Yeah.
wouldn't let Rey Fenix go, they were kind of split up. So it was what it was.
Cool.
I like the fact that he won, and it's a comedy thing, and it makes me laugh anyway.
Yeah.
So actually, Chad Gable is really good in the ring, and he always does a really good match. So that was a good comedy thing. Next bit wasn't so comedy if you saw the build up. So it was Tiffany Stratton against Charlotte Flair. Did you see the promo the week before that fell apart and it all just went a bit weird?
No.
So Charlotte Flair's come back and everyone's been booing her again.
Yeah.
And there's
a given.
Face-to-face promo. It's worth going. No, you won't be able, you have to go and find it because WWE, when they edited it, and basically I can't remember where they were. They're face-to-face in the ring, and the fans were really booing her. And she's always been like this for years. She can't handle it. And when the fans start watting her and stuff, she can't rise above it. And she gets rattled, and then it gets worse. So she started getting rattled again. There's obviously a little bit of animosity between the two anyway. And basically, it got really personal. So she had a pop at Tiffany over something. So Tiffany had a pop at Charlotte about her divorce. And then Charlotte fired back because Tiffany goes out with Ludwig Kaiser in real life.
Yeah. Yeah.
And she fired back saying, well, why is Ludwig been in my DMs? And it was just this really awkward, really messy thing. And there was a beautiful post that someone posted the next day, a picture of Ludwig Kaiser saying, the only guy in the world that's been accused of cheating, and you know he hasn't.
Yep.
So, so a lot of people were expecting this to be kind of a little bit personal, but I thought it was a good match, actually. He didn't get a very good star rating from various critics, but Tiffany won, and I thought it was a good match.
I did see some things. Yeah, I saw some things about Charlotte effectively getting to almost the torch passing part of her career.
Well, it's interesting because I can see I don't like her. I never liked her. I think she's overrated, and she's like got all these titles, but she's nothing like Ric Flair because Ric Flair won 16 world titles over how many decades. She's been winning women's championships like week in, week out. It doesn't work like that. But the thing is, she comes back, she can't play a face, but they put her in that position and it doesn't work. And someone said on Twitter, and I kind of believe it, she comes back after an injury with loads of plastic surgery done and always looks completely different, and it's really, really obvious. And this time she just got pushed into the Rumble. She won the Rumble, but there's now, because there's more popular women around her, she's kind of been pushed out of that spotlight. And I feel the same about Becky Lynch. I'm getting tired of her as well, coming back and just being propelled into the top of the thing because there's better women now in those positions. And I think this was a typical example where Tiffany's literally gone in a year, has gone up through the ranks and won the belt. And she's super popular, and they tried to sort of shove Charlotte down our throats again, and it didn't work, and the fans rejected her.
Yeah, and the fact that Tiff has retained the belt, because normally Charlotte comes back and goes, "Yep, here's the belt, love. You're now 102 times world champion." So it's quite nice to see Tiffany retain, and I could watch her forever. She's great.
Oh, I'll have to send you it. There's a beautiful screenshot. I don't know what it was, a couple of months ago. So someone had up in the crowd a sign that said, "It's Tiffy time." But the space between the apostrophe and the S was a bit too wide, so it just looked like "It Stiffy time." And I'll find it and I'll send it to you. It was, and it's
genius.
so every time
Genius.
every time she goes Stiffy time, I go, it's Stiffy time.
Yeah, it's Stiffy time. Yeah,
and it just makes me chill because it's a very British humour thing to kind of snigger about something like that.
Yeah. Love her. She's
anyway,
great.
back to and it was the main event, so obviously triple threat: Rollins, Reigns, CM Punk. You got what you were expecting. It was a really good match, I thought.
Yeah.
Really well crafted. 3 really good people with a really nice little swerve at the end. I thought that was really cool.
Yes. Yeah, I confess it was one of those ones. Because triple threats are always a weird one. You go, right, is it just going to be a mess? But no, it was a good watch, and I watched that one second because I did night 2 first. So that one ran longer than I thought it was going to be. Yeah, that ran longer than I thought it was going to. Hence why I was late for recording because I'm terrible. But yeah, no, I enjoyed it. I saw something online about Roman Reigns announcing retirement.
Oh, there's not officially announced it, but there's talk about him. He wants to go into films, and he's already on a part-time deal anyway. So there is talk about him stepping back and not being around as much, but he wasn't really around as much anyway, and just sort of going and doing other things. So wouldn't surprise me.
Because let's face it, his story is kind of complete, isn't it? And you go, if you're going to go, now is the time to go because your big story is done.
Yeah, apart from the match with The Rock, which probably will never happen now, there's nothing much left for him to do.
Yeah. Yes, it's a weird one. And actually, would I want a match between him and The Rock?
No. Is that
no.
I think the shine's gone off.
Can The Rock still go?
Oh God. The whole, we'll get to The Rock in this at some point, but the whole thing when Roman Reigns was the super heel, The Rock coming in, it would have worked, but that's all gone now. And even post WrestleMania last year, it still could have happened, but it didn't for various reasons, and I think it's gone. The opportunity for that match has gone.
Yeah, it's moved on. The world has moved on, hasn't it?
Yeah.
So day 2.
So the best match for me, I think, was the triple threat women's match.
Start.
Brilliant, absolutely brilliant. That if you fast forward it, go watch it again in non-fast forward. It was great.
I do need to watch it because I do love Rhea Ripley.
Yeah. I like Io as well. I think she's great, and it's brilliant. It is a really good match. It's spot on, start to finish, really good. There's a really interesting thing with this one. So obviously you know the result, don't you?
Yeah.
So Io retained, which is really shocking. So when they were in Europe and these 3 were kind of feuding, everyone was booing Bianca Belair, and there was loads of criticism online from Americans saying, "Oh, the Europeans are racist. They're booing Bianca and cheering for Rhea." And then lots of people pointed out, "What about Io?" That argument falls down, and then we come over to the States, and the Americans are booing her as well. And everyone's saying, "Oh, it's racism." No, it's because people are getting sick of her, and it's just because, and that's it. They need to. I won't be surprised if she doesn't turn at some point and align herself with Naomi as a heel tag team, because she's kind of got to the point now where she's outstaying her welcome as a face, and people didn't. People either wanted her and Rhea, but then everyone cheers for Io. Io is super, especially in the in other countries. She's super popular, but she's also really popular in the US now as well. And I think this match, this feud, cemented that popularity. That actually people like her, and Rhea's just superstar anyway. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, Rhea can do whatever she likes, as far as I'm concerned, because she's great.
No, she's great. And again, there's 3.
And she's.
Sorry, go ahead.
She's one of these people where the face heel element, you just go, no, she just is. And I think that's the thing. You just go, yeah, I'm just going to be me, and it's going to be fine, because that's how popular they are.
They've just filled the void now, where Charlotte and Becky are very much last generation. They've kind of superseded them now, and I think people forget that how there's the gap now is quite Bayley, Charlotte, Becky were the 3, and then they're
Well,
never much.
And the fourth one, Sasha Banks, or whatever her name is.
But she's been exposed as being absolutely shit since she's left, because she's been protected by the WWE system, and you can guarantee that out of all 4 of them, she's the worst.
Yeah.
So it's that, that just shows how much depth they've got in that women's division now.
And I think that's the key thing. The women's division is a proper wrestling division. It's not TNA anymore. It's now actual proper wrestlers who can go.
Oh yeah, and if you look at the ones in NXT, Stephanie Vacour and Julia, just like the depth that's coming up is good as what's already there.
Yeah, Bianca Belair's hair still scares me. That's just my health and safety mind just goes, I don't like it. I don't like it.
Must be partly what do you call it? Not implants.
It's got to be a metal wire in there somewhere, because some of the stuff that I've seen her.
It's woven with something. It can't all be hair.
Yeah, because some of the stuff you've seen, like people hanging off and all sorts. You go, there's no way you are asking to do yourself an injury, and it makes me uncomfortable.
Is Bianca Belair's hair real?
If it is, fair play, but it upsets me greatly if it is.
It's partly her own hair, but partly wig woven into it. So it's protected. So there you go.
Yeah. Excellent.
Drew McIntyre versus Damian Priest. 2. Yeah, Drew versus Damian. I thought it was a good match, actually. Drew's great. He's awesome. He needed to win that one. Again, I wasn't expecting much of it, but it was actually a very good match for what it was. Fatal 4-Way one was next, which was awesome. Dominic Mysterio, Bron Breakker, Finn Balor, and Penta. Dominic Mysterio's way over with that crowd, wasn't
he? Yeah. I think that's the thing. Dominic Mysterio he can just do what he wants, because everyone hates him and they love him for it.
Yeah, and I think he's come on so much over the last couple of years since he's turned heel. He's brilliant. He's another one of these characters who's just like, you just think, he's good. And he's not actually a good wrestler. He's just quite an average wrestler, but he gets the character entertainment side of it.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing. You can have an amazing character that is average in the ring. As long as they can hold their own, you're fine. Because character work can get you miles. Whereas you have really good wrestlers who have no character, and you go, they're great, but I just don't care about them. And that's the difference. It's the storytelling is as much outside the ring as it is inside.
Yeah. Well, Bron Breakker lost the belt, not by getting pinned, but he's gone on to bigger and greater things on Raw, so he'll be main eventing probably against Jacob Fatu in a couple of years' time anyway. So
good times.
And he's just a freak. He's just a freak of nature anyway.
Well, he's a Steiner, isn't he?
Yeah, because they've signed Scott Steiner's son now to a developmental deal, and he looks just like him.
Yeah.
So having those two together is going to be bonkers if they kind of get it. If they time it right and it works, that'd just be awesome.
Right, what was next on the card?
Oh, awesome! Randy Orton versus Joe Hendry. Joe Hendry at WrestleMania. It's just bonkers.
It's my understanding Joe Hendry's in TNA, right?
Correct. Yeah, TNA World Champion. Which is just the concept of that.
Absolutely mental. Yeah. Yeah.
But Joe Hendry, because my son was asking, well, who's Joe Hendry? Because I was listening to his theme music, and it's like the concept of how he's got where he's got basically off his own back. He is the master of self-promotion, and he's such a nice guy as well. You listen to some of the interviews, and he's just said he's really honest about how he does things. And I just thought that was, because I was like, who's it going to be? And then when he came out, I was like, oh my God. Apparently Randy Orton picked him. Randy Orton actually asked for him. Because you listen to all the stories about Randy Orton, because he when he was younger, he used to be a dick, but now he's a really kind of like properly respected kind of person. And he personally said, no, I want Joe Hendry. A lot of people
Yeah.
complain that he lost in 3 minutes, and there's an interview with Joe Hendry saying, no, he said, I did what I was asked to do, did the business. He said, if I'd wrestled 20 minutes with Randy Orton, it wouldn't have been the same. It was supposed to be what it was supposed to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's all it was. And you just go, yeah, fair enough. So, and he's destined for WWE. Once the deal, he'll just jump ship and move straight across. But he's already as popular as a lot of those people on the roster just by doing his own stuff.
Yeah. And I think that's what I said about like the character is as almost more important than the wrestling. You just go, yeah, it's because you hear that first bar and you go, I know who this is. It's gonna be great. Yeah, say his name. He appears.
I forgot
Yeah.
he tried to get that in as the UK's Eurovision Song Contest entry last year. And I was like, oh yeah, I forgot he tried to do it. It's little things like that where he's just constantly working on his own image, and he just say,
I believe in your wondering.
That was good. So it's a little nice, little light-hearted thing there. Next one was Logan Paul versus AJ Styles. Logan Paul, he's a dick, but he's good.
Yeah. It's the you couldn't have him as a face. He's always going to be a heel because he is just
he's a dick.
Everyone wants to punch him in the face.
But he's good at being a dick.
Yeah, and I hate him for it.
And that works for him. And he's good in the ring.
Yeah.
And you think he's only been doing it for a couple of years. He's as good as some of the people over in AAW jumping about, leaping about. He's just a dick. He's just a dick. But it works.
Yeah. And I hate him. I really hate him. But that's the point. You're meant to. Yeah. Oh.
Yeah, AJ lost. There's all the stuff going on with Karrion Kross, which is interesting. AJ's kind of obviously coming up to retirement age anyway. So he can't have many years left in him because we used to watch him in TNA, didn't we? And he was...
Yeah, because I still think AJ is like a youngster, and you go, but we were watching that years ago.
Yeah, he's been around for a long time and he's done a lot of stuff. So I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't retire sooner rather than later. And he keeps getting injured as well recently.
Yeah, because AJ's what, in his 40s?
Yeah, easy.
Yeah. And you go, yeah, Christ, that's an old boy for wrestling.
Yeah. Next was the ladies. So Lyra Valkyria, and then obviously Becky Lynch was her mystery partner. Yay. Versus Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez. I can't say it. Rodriguez.
I love Liv Morgan.
She's great. Again, another one who has developed that character really well and has just lived it, and it's just like, yeah, she's great. Becky Lynch, I used to like her a lot, and now this whole the man gimmick, I'm just tired of it. It's boring.
Yeah.
And
she was a man before she went away to have kids, and now she's still that. So she should have come back as something new, but yeah,
and she turned heel on Raw. But there's quite a lot of controversy to this because Bayley wasn't injured in real life. She was removed for this storyline to happen, and you kind of think Bayley's been there and has done a lot more and been a kind of loyal servant to the cause, and she got bumped so that Becky could come back and then turn heel the next day. They could have done it a different way.
Yeah.
She's very, it's like, oh, it's that again. It's boring. It was good when it happened. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But it's boring now. And she had that heel gimmick for a bit, which I actually thought was better. But then she went back to being the man, and it's like, oh, the world's moved on, you see, and I think that's the thing.
Yeah.
And then the main event, John Cena versus Cody Rhodes, has been touted as one of the worst WrestleMania main events in history. A lot of people have said.
Yeah. It did not bring me joy.
No. I think for me, the match was what it was, but it was the whole Rock controversy that overshadowed it. Because have you seen all the stuff that kicked off with this and what he said and all the stuff? So obviously he didn't turn up. So rewind back to Elimination Chamber to the whole thing where he wanted Cody's soul, basically wanted Cody to join him.
Yeah.
And then him and that god-awful rapper.
Who is this rapper?
Yeah, exactly.
Travis Scott.
That's it.
Who is this person? Why are they on my TV?
My son knows who he is. He was in his character was in Fortnite, so that kind of gives you an idea of. They are apparently really famous in America, but I've never heard of him. So yeah, him and Travis Scott. Cena turns heel, but then we don't hear from The Rock again. He disappears. He wasn't in any of the build-up. He wasn't mentioned. We never really found out what he offered Cena to turn. So everyone was expecting The Rock to turn up at WrestleMania because it made sense in the whole line of the story.
Yeah.
The Rock and Cena had joined forces. Travis Scott wanders out really slowly, walks to the ring. And that really pissed me off because it took the energy out of the room because everyone was waiting for The Rock. And then he just wanders to the ring with his kid's belt on his shoulder and just gets involved. But The Rock wasn't there. So a lot of criticism from a lot of the podcasts and stuff. Well, you had this whole build-up and he just didn't turn up. So then The Rock was on Pat McAfee's podcast, the video podcast, the night after. Wasn't scheduled to be there, and then all of a sudden he was there. And basically, he has an interview. It's worth going to watch it because The Rock has turned into Hulk Hogan in terms of twisting the truth. Hulk explaining it, or Hogan explaining it to suit his image. And basically, he said the TKO board called him and said they're not selling many tickets for Elimination Chamber. We want you there to sell tickets. So he says Triple H and John Cena came up with the idea for John Cena to turn heel, and he said he'd help out. And then when it finished, he said, well, I'm going to step back now and let John Cena be the heel and Cody run with it because it's got nothing to do with me. But then why turn up at Bad Blood a whole 4 months earlier, at the end of it, stand up, wave 3 fingers in the air and then walk off? What's all that got to do with it? It makes sense. At the time when Cena turned heel, it made sense because he was doing the countdown 3, 2, and then where was 1 coming from? Because he did the 2 fingers across his neck, so that's 2. He did 3 at Bad Blood. Where's number 1? Never happened. And then he threw Triple H under the bus in a really veiled thing where he said, oh yeah, Travis Scott coming out at WrestleMania. I didn't know anything about that. Of course, I'd have done it differently if I was doing that, or words to that effect. And it was just like, oh my Lord. So there's obviously something there. So there's one particular podcaster who just went ape on, he does it with Buddy Ray and they do a podcast.
Yeah.
And he went mental, just had a massive rant about it, saying this is just bullshit. You should have been there. You should have finished that. You should have carried it through. Everyone was expecting to be there. You didn't do it. What's going on? So he replies in a response on Instagram, basically saying, oh, don't, wrestling's all fake. It's all a work. Don't get stressed about it. Just come to one of our storyline meetings and you'll understand what it was all about. And the guy's going, you can't respond to a fan and just say it's all make-believe. Because what's the point? What's the point in everything?
Yeah.
Because what The Rock's been doing when he's been doing this final boss bullshit, last year it was great. I liked it last year. But this year, in the press conferences, he's not the final boss. He turns that character off and he's Dwayne Johnson. And he keeps talking in the third person. And he mentioned, like, is that weird thing when they did the Netflix debut? He was there as Dwayne Johnson. And then there was a picture of him drinking whiskey with Cody Rhodes afterwards. And that was bizarre. That didn't make sense. And then he turned up at NXT saying, because there's lots of criticism saying, oh, don't worry, you don't know what's going on. The Rock's 3 steps ahead of you. You just wait. You wait and go on the journey with us because it's really exciting. And then the journey just disappeared. And lots of people are criticizing that he turns up, tries to get involved in stuff like last year. The fans turned on it last year. And when he inserted himself into the main event, they didn't want it. This year, he's kind of done the opposite. But a lot of people are saying this year, he's got a load of film deals, whereas last year he had nothing because he was on the outs because of Black Adam. Now he's got all his film career back. He's not interested, so he comes in and comes out. But what he's doing, every time he comes in, he wrecks the booking that they're setting up. Because if John Cena was going to turn heel, apparently he was going to turn heel at WrestleMania, and it would have made more sense. Him beating Cody and then kicking him in the balls to win would have a lot more shock value, probably, than the way they did it anyway.
Yeah, because
it's bizarre.
The whole match just it did not bring me joy. Is as the older expression goes. I just watched and went, it's slow, it's boring, it's just not fun.
And Cody looked like a right idiot.
Yeah. And then fucking Travis Scott appears and go, I just don't care. I don't want this. I want you to beat 7 bells out of each other and make it exciting.
Ignoring
this is meant to be seen as like farewell tour, and that is a blip. That is a career blip.
Yeah, because it made Cody look like a chump because he was just like, he was holding the belt, acting like an idiot. Like, I'm not going to hit him. That was just weird. The Travis Scott thing brought the energy right down because it took bloody ages to get there. He had if he'd come through the crowd with a hoodie on, it would have been more exciting. It might have been a bit more intense, but they walked down really slowly and Cody just watched him walk down. Okay, Cody slapped him in the face and all that kind of stuff. Got his revenge for when Travis Scott really did punch him in the face. But the fact that everyone was expecting The Rock to be there and he wasn't made it all look shit. And John Cena, granted, he'll turn face by the end of it. It'll be fine. And actually, he's doing quite well as a heel. But and Cody looks really bad coming out of it. He looks really bad coming out of it. Because it's now going to be... Sorry, go on.
Yeah, I just didn't... It turned me off because, like, I'm going, Cody's good, but he just was, like you said, he was just made to look awful. Cena was so slow and just have a proper match, please. Just do something.
Yeah, it should have been. Yeah, he needed to win. There was no doubt about it.
Yeah.
Having him turn at Mania would have been better. Really, because we've had this protracted, long ass build to WrestleMania where The Rock's not been there. Either get involved or don't do it.
Yeah.
So his stock, and most people, if everybody, just says The Rock's full of shit now, and anything he says is just he's now Hogan-splaining it to make him look good. There's obviously a rift between him and Triple H, because it's funny. Triple H's acceptance speech at the Hall of Fame ran for about an hour and 20 minutes. It was that long. He thanked everybody from like the cleaner to Vince McMahon by name, and the only person he didn't mention was The Rock. He mentioned Kurt Angle, The Undertaker, Stone Cold, Mick Foley, Shawn Michaels, obviously, Kevin Nash, Scott Hall, all the people.
Yeah.
And didn't mention Dwayne Johnson once.
Oh.
And you think there's got to be something there. There's got to be something where The Rock's just pulling rank, going in, doing what he wants, then leaving Triple H to pick up the pieces. Because he would not have booked that in the way that it went down. Even if they were going to do the heel turn at Elimination Chamber, fine. But he wouldn't have booked it that way because Triple H is good at booking these things, and the long-term storyline, as we've seen with the Bloodline, he's been spotless. So there's the only thing that's a blip is the fact that The Rock got involved 2 years running, and last year, thankfully, we got a really good WrestleMania main event, probably the best one ever. And then this year we got this crappy piece of shit. A lot of people said it was like Las Vegas, last Saturday Las Vegas, when it was Hogan beat Yokozuna in that weird thing after Bret Hart lost to him. The same type of kind of end vibe where it's like, oh god.
Yeah, it's just tripe, just absolute tripe.
Yeah. So there we go. That was WrestleMania. The Raw after WrestleMania was good.
Yeah.
So we've got the new super faction, which is Paul Heyman, Seth Rollins and Braun Breaker, which will be good.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
We've got, what else happened? Rusev is back, which is great. He got a good reception. What else came out of Raw that was interesting? Oh, yeah, obviously Becky Lynch turned heel.
Yeah. Cool.
SmackDown was last night. Aleister Black came back, and that was about it, really. There wasn't much else. So, see how it pans out. John Cena, Randy Orton is Backlash main event. That should be good.
Ooh.
Because they've got a lot of history. Yeah. We'll see how that pans out. John Cena has to win. He has to carry that belt till the end of the year, and someone up and coming has to beat him.
Yeah.
Not Cody. Because it has to be somebody else.
Yeah. Yeah. Because it's going to be the old adage of you go out on your back. So he cannot now lose.
Oh, yeah. And he'll do what's right for business.
Unless he loses by shenanigans, so the belt stays on him.
Turns face. Yeah, or turns face to kind of as a last thing he does before he leaves completely. Because he's going to retire. He's genuinely, this is it.
Yes.
My last appearance is this, and I'm not doing anymore.
Yeah.
The best tweet I saw after he won the 17th World Championship and broke the record was just someone saying, it was along the lines of, wouldn't it be funny if AEW did this? And all it was a picture of Ric Flair and the AEW World Championship. And I thought, yeah, Tony Khan is that nuts. He might do it. It'd just be hilarious if Ric Flair somehow won his 17th World Championship.
Well, they'll do the finger of doom, wouldn't they? He just walked down does a whole Flair swagger and just be bonk.
Shenanigans. It would be so funny. It would be hilarious if they did it.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
Yeah, so that was WrestleMania. See, look, we filled our gap of 40 minutes by talking about random rock-related business.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Like we said, if we enjoy something, we can only go for like 10 minutes. If we really get annoyed by it, or there's a lot of stuff to talk about, we can go for a while. That sounded better in my head. That was slightly weird. Yeah, I need to be angry about something.
Well, dear. Next week.
So next week we come back for episode 4, and let's see if the tradition of it being good holds, or we just start hating Doctor Who again.
Yeah, never know, because he's not writing next week's, so it could be good.
2 in a row. That's all we want.
Oh, this guy who wrote this one has wrote loads of stuff, so he might be good at this. He's written loads of. Oh, he's written things for. Oh no.
Oh no.
Oh, he wrote things for the 13th Doctor. I rephrase my comments. It might not be as good as we thought.
Are we going to get our first 1-star Doctor Who episode? Let's find out.
We'll see.
The critic hat will be firmly on next week, I fear. So yes, cool. So then, dear viewers and dear listeners, I believe we'll be back in 7 days to do it all again. Talk about Doctor Who.
Until next time.
On that note, goodbye.
Bye.